Hello and namaste. This is Preeti Adhikari, the founder of the Great Nepali Diaspora, and this is TGND Beats, Diaspora's Kurakani. In our podcast, we hope to showcase Nepalis or Nepali Americans or Nepali some things that, have done some amazing things and share their stories of struggle, perseverance, and success. Today, I'm super, super excited because we have a very special guest, Jyoti KC, who is the first Nepali-born American analog astronaut, as well as a medical technician for United States Air Force. Welcome, Jyoti.
Hello, Preeti ma'am. Thank you so much for having me.
No worries, no worries. So let's start with what does an analog astronaut do? What does that actually even mean?
That's a good question. I get that a lot. Analog astronaut is like kind of short, how do I say this? A short kind of training that astronauts do in real life. And the reason why analog astronaut, a lot of people don't know this at all. And then every astronaut go through the analog astronaut training just to make sure everything is good to go. We test all the machine we have. And so it's like a really short, for me, my analog astronaut training was just for 2 weeks. So I get to everything as an astronaut do in short version.
Awesome. And let's talk a little bit about your background. We see some, an interesting background, Timro. Can you tell us where you are right now?
Right now I'm on base. I cannot tell the location. So yeah, I have a bunk bed right now.
Awesome. This is probably, in all the podcast recordings we've done, in all the, Zoom sessions we've done, this is probably one of the most unique places we've recorded something. So that's very cool. Jyoti, tell us a little bit about, I know you moved to the US when you were young and so on. Tell us about that. What age were you? And do you actually have any memories from Nepal?
A lot. Okay. So I'm from Nepal, from really tiny village, and I moved to Texas back in 2017. So it's been like 6 years.
Okay.
So I have all the fresh memory from Nepal.
Awesome.
I grew up in a small village. I did my high school in Dang and Butol. And yeah, I do have a lot of fresh memory. I speak Nepali fluently. And I do speak English fluently. I do learn other languages as well. So you can talk to me in any language.
Awesome. So Dangbara, Texas is obviously a big change, right? Share a little bit about, did you have when you moved, and 6 years is not a very long time. So did you have any cultural shocks? What was your first impression? Texas sound like it?
When I moved to Texas,
right.
Cultural shock, I would say that obesity, to be honest, that's the most is in people here, and food, because I'm so used to I grew up in a culture where we would eat food from our farm,
right,
organic, pretty healthy. So that was it took me a little while to kind of get used to the food,
right?
People in general, because in Texas, I don't know if you have been here or not.
Everything's bigger there, even the portion.
Yeah, everything is big, and people are so friendly. They just wave at you, ask you how you doing. It's so normal. So that was a culture shock for me.
Awesome. In terms of that move, right? You did your high school in Nepal. When you came to the US, did you already know what you wanted to be, or what did you figure that out? Yeah, but
so it's kind of coincident, I would say. So I came through a diversity visa, right? So I already had a green card, and back in Nepal, I was doing my bachelor, but I think in first semester or something like that. But I always wanted to fly. That was my big dream. And when I moved to Texas, it's kind of like a dream came true for me, because everything that I wanted is here in Texas.
Right.
So it was so easy for me to get to do what I always wanted to do. That's kind of how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even waste my time. And then when I was working at the nursing home, I got to work with a lot of like people from different countries and different backgrounds. And I was the youngest one. I was like the 21, youngest one working as a receptionist, some miscellaneous, and they were like, and I still have a like strong accent. And they were like, who is he, And then that's how I kind of meet other people from the Air Force, like, and they're like, what do you want to do in your life? And I said, I want to fly. I always wanted to fly. And they were like, okay. And we kind of talk a lot about like get into the Air Force. So it was always like for me, while getting into space, doing my undergrad in aerospace I always wanted to.
Right.
So I didn't waste my time. All the struggle I have was like, okay, I know what I want and where I can make my dream come true.
Exactly.
Hard work, dedication, I always have them. So yeah.
No, it's amazing. And I love that sometimes the right place, the right time also makes such a difference, right? I mean, it was almost like, along with your DV visa, it almost like your dreams actually came true, right? Because you were actually in the right place to do all of that.
Very much. Because when I got here for a year, I couldn't join any college because I had to be a Texas resident for a year, that state tuition fee. So I couldn't do anything, but I used that year period just to prepare myself for the Air Force because I didn't know anything about Air Force. I never heard Air Force.
Right.
In Nepal, we don't have Air Force, right?
Exactly.
It's like, I don't know, I never planned my life this way. It was for me, I had like a linear path, right? I'm going to graduate from high school and then I'm going to go to college, graduate from college, and probably learn how to fly, so stuff like that. But when I got here, that's not how things actually worked for me. I had to go work, I had to make money, I had to save all the money so that I can go do the thing that I want to do, right? So the whole thing kind of fall into my plate. Like you have a tons of options if you look at it that way. If you look at it, this is opportunity that you were waiting for so long.
Right.
There you go, you have them. Now you have to like pick which one do you want to do. So it took me a year to actually it took me a month to make my mind.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And I started digging about like Air Force. How do I do it? How can I join? What are the things I need, right? All the requirements. I'm like, I'm not going to lie to you. I only met 2 requirements just to get in the Air Force. Right. I had the green card and then I had high school degree. Physical, I was nowhere close to that.
Right.
Written test, nowhere close to that. And the security clearance, literally I just moved here, so I did not have any security clearance. I need to work on that as well. So it took almost 13 months to get into the process. I had to train myself. I had to gain like almost 8 kg program. And I was like, how do I do that? Because I'm not a foodie. I do not eat right how other people eat, and I'm very picky on food because all I can eat is just healthy food, and that was not helping me to
Right.
So the whole process was kind of frustrating in a way that everything I was trying to do, I was nowhere close to get there. It took me almost like 8 months to meet all the criteria, every requirement. And then the 3-4 months I just wait there. I was just waiting for their email or phone call just to say, hey, you got selected. You are in, right? So the was so challenging for me because I was just waiting there, checking my emails, just checking my voicemail if I miss any call.
Right.
So that's how I kind of got in the Air Force. And from the Air Force, just having no military background, you have no support, right? There is no one you can go around. Hey, how does this thing work, right? And you do you do search, do Google, YouTube, but you don't really see everything.
Of course.
So I cannot blame myself why I thought it's a good idea to just join the Air Force. And I never even thought about if I can do it or not. I was like, I'm going to do it. This is the only way I can see it right now.
Right.
So that's how I kind of get into the Air Force and the whole basic training. And then we have other phase of training, right? And it was so new, but at the same time, I was very curious and excited. I'm like, I want to do it, right? So yeah, so that's how I got into the Air Force. That's how I started my career. Really
Awesome. No, I love that, Jyoti. Thank you for sharing this. I mean, it really tells a lot about dedication, right? And having that long-term vision. I think for a lot of us, we're so used to seeing success, the short term, okay, right? If we work hard, we want to see some success immediately. So one thing that I'm hoping our audience gets out of is that sometimes it's good to actually have a long-term vision and work towards it. So Theo is incredible. And I also want to highlight one thing for, our community, right? Because what happens, especially if you think about any job requirements, Theo job postings are there is a lot of stats around, especially women won't apply for a job if they don't meet at least 8 out of 10 requirements, right? And there is, a lot of data that for men, it's actually, alikati kam bhayo bhane pani 5 bhayo bhane pani people will apply. तर for women, they want at least 8 to 10 requirements fulfill गरेपछि. And your story is so different, तर so inspiring in that sense, right? What it tells our community is that it's okay, right? It's okay not to meet all the requirements, but you could, start with something and work towards it.
Yes, absolutely. Because for me, when I decide to join the Air Force, I didn't even tell my parents. Nobody knew about anything at all. The reason why I didn't tell is like sometimes, like, can you just imagine a girl just moved to States and then she just within a month, she decided to join the Air Force, right? It's like, do you not have other things to do? Can you not just go to college, or take a loan or do something, graduate from college and then try to, and then think about the dream or the goal you have. For my case, I'm like 21. I'm like, okay, I do not have a parents with me. There's no one going to guide me. So it's all on myself.
Right.
And I'm making a decision based on my dream. Like every astronaut, if I look at the background, a lot of them are from the Air Force, Navy, Marine, Army. Right? And I'm like, why? I asked myself like, why this is happening to me? I mean, like, first of all, I have such a power. I'm not just highlighting the fact that I have a green card, but if I never had a green card, I would not join the Air Force because that's the basic requirement, right? So I asked myself, if this is happening for a purpose. Then I have to try my best. At least I have to try my best, right? I can go anywhere. I can go work at any companies, just settle with my life, have a good income, and have a house or car, all the desire 21 years old can have, right? All this stuff. But I decided not to have any of that. I decided to make my career first. And I work hard as much as I can, not come up with any excuses. I'm not like, oh, I never see anyone in the Air Force. There is no Nepal in the Air Force. Right. I can barely talk in English, Okay, there's so many, like, if I look at it, there's so many things I can say that I cannot do it. Exactly. But I not to look at that at all. And to be honest, there were multiple milestones I had to overcome just to get there. Even after the whole, like, entire year of me and just putting my life together, meeting every requirement, and then I was just waiting for 4 months, waiting from their answer. Like, I was just waiting there. I'm like, okay, it was kind of very daunting if I think about it, I'm like, I don't know how did I manage to just wait there, sit there, and like to just wait, because I think I knew from the beginning that I have everything, that in whatever it takes, I have everything. And if I don't have everything, then I'll make sure I'll get everything. So it kind of helped me in a way that if you think like you have everything it takes, and in the process you have patience,
Right.
trying to understand the process. And now I'm in the Air Force. Now I kind of understood, like, oh, it's not just only for me.
Right.
Everyone wanted to join the Air Force kind of actually wait more than I waited. But at that time, I didn't know. At that time, I didn't meet any Nepali around me, so I was just clueless.
Course. No, of course. I think, being the first of anything is tough, right? Because there is no path, there is nobody to, like you said, there is nobody to guide you, there is nothing to, follow on, right? There are couple times say it's almost not just you choosing something choosing you, pani huncha, right? That sort of, keeps you determined and all of that. Um, Now that you've made it, right? You've done all this hard work and so on. I'm sure your story is going to resonate with, our audience, यहाँ पनि, our diaspora, Nepali diaspora, as well as people in Nepal, right? This case, say, what are some things that you would advise people, right? That are what I've realized is a lot of people in Nepal want to be pilots, right? In terms of, astronauts, अलिकति कम हुन्छ, तर pilots एकदम धेरैको हुन्छ, तर, more and more, even, being an astronaut and so on is becoming realistic and becoming a realistic dream. Key suggestions are for people that are, listening, that will be listening to our podcast and want to do something similar.
I would say it is very important to know what you want, because it's going to take your entire life. If you are okay giving your entire life to something that you really wanted, then I would say it's worth it. It's worth. Don't worry about the result. A lot of us kind of make a decision based on what kind of outcome we're going to get,
Right.
It's more like kind of, if you really want it, it's okay. Just at least give yourself a permission from yourself, not from your parents or not from your siblings or not from your relatives. Just give yourself the permission that I'm going to try, because you never know like how good you are. You never know what does it take. Or sometimes you already have that. It's just because you don't know anyone, because you just don't know how to start. That doesn't mean that you give up. I don't think so, because for me it was so clear. For me, this is what I exactly want.
Right.
And I was ready to give my entire life. Like, as long as I live, I'm gonna try.
Right.
I knew for sure that even in the process of just getting there, gonna make me so happy.
Right.
Because I'm doing something that I always wanted to do, right? Isn't that a wonderful feeling that you're trying for something that you always wanted to try? And a lot of us kind of make a pick our dream based on like if it's available right now, or if I have opportunity, or if I do this, like, for example, if I'm a pilot, am I going to get a job for that? A lot of us kind of make a decision based on if it's out there or not, or if I can.
What's going to be the income? What's going to be the lifestyle?
I'm going to like pay off my loan or not, which is real. I'm not saying that, oh, don't worry about it. Of course, you're going to be worried about it, right? You got to make sure that, you're going to get it, or you're going to be successful. I don't think so. Nobody want to try knowing that I'm going to fail.
Right.
So, but as long as you know why you want it, and I think you can say anything to other people, how much you want it, it's your childhood dream, you meant for this, but if you not true for yourself, for some reason you are doubting, then it's going to hurt yourself more.
Right.
And it's going to affect you in so many ways. So I would say just, it could be anything. Just, you want to be a teacher, a good teacher, right? It's not just being a pilot. I would say you want to try something in agriculture in different way, right? And you have that passion. and you are so ready to take any risks. You're like, just throw me. I was like, how?
No, I love that, Jyoti. I think it's so relatable. And for Nepalis in general, I think as hardworking and, all of that we have, I think we need to also normalize trying something and even failing, right? I think for a lot of people, they have they have the good work ethic. They can everything's hard. I think हाम्रो culture we're so afraid of trying something, right? So it's a lot of people will just spend their life doing something that is comfortable, that doesn't sort of push them out of their comfort zone, right? I'm hoping more and more. So we see that early, right, where people will try something even and give themselves that permission. Think they want to understand, right? So that I hope
it's like just never say no to yourself. You always have to go and try. It's always worth it. And I would say, like, when I tried for the Air Force, I couldn't make it in the first try. I'm not gonna lie to you, because I couldn't make it because I really didn't know anything at all. I was like working full time, and every time I'll get a break, like lunch break or things like that, right? I remember I had a book, and then I was preparing for myself, and I didn't even know how to prepare. It's so I'm gonna be pretty honest here. I didn't know anything at all. I was just doing on my own, doing a lot of research, right? And it's so funny, when I went to the office, when I had to take a test, I didn't even know it was computer based, because the book I had was like, I read it, it says that, right, you're just going to get a paper and then you're going to circle stuff like that. And so I prepared my mind based on that, but when I went there, it was computerized, and then everything had a time. I didn't know that at all. So I was like, I don't know. I'm like, why do I have a computer here, right? And the instructor said, yeah, this is how, like, I went through everything. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try. So Camille, I can back up. I don't even know. And it's so funny because when I did that, and then I didn't get the result I wanted to do, because for Air Force, you have to have like some standard number.
Right.
Yes, other branches. So I was fine for other branches.
Right.
I wanted to do Air Force. So for that, I couldn't meet the requirement. So I had to retake it. And it took me 3 months to prepare again. So, and it's 13 different subjects, right? And I was like, okay, now at least I know what kind of question going to look like.
And it's going to be on a computer as well, right?
Now I know there is like a time limit in every subject. And now I know where is my weak point. So I knew I'm going to fail. Trust me, I knew I'm going to fail, because the preparation I was prepared for was not like that at all, right? And then I had to wait for an hour almost just to get a result. But in my head, when I was waiting, I'm like, okay, I remember this. I already knew that I'm going to fail. Like, it's just so funny. And I was like, next time I'm going to study this way. And I like 4 books, because I couldn't find all the questions. I was like, okay, this is not enough, right? Okay. So just imagine yourselves, like, if you are doing something new, you're going to fail.
Of course.
Failure not going to hurt you. The thing that hurts you is not trying to try. So I already knew that. And it was so easy for me to actually understand that, Jyoti, you are trying this for the first time, and nobody is guiding you, nobody is supporting you, and you are doing something against everyone to be able to grow. If you think about joining the military, just in general, we'll think like, come on, like, you could do something better, right? And so not only that, also at the same time, like, also like, I'm like, okay, it's already been a year. I'm trying, right? And then I'm like, I know I can do it. It might going to take 6 more months.
Right.
I'm just going to give everything. So having that patience, because a lot of us have no patience. A lot of us just want the result right away.
Exactly.
Come up within a month or within 6 months. So patience you have to have a patience. You need to know if this is so new for you, you might gonna fail multiple times. The failing is not because you are not good enough. The failure is because you didn't know. And there's a difference.
Yes.
And not knowing is a difference.
Of
So
course.
I think that in like my generation, I think people are kind of aware that if we are trying something new and we know for sure nobody's doing this, and it is obvious that we might gonna not perform the best, but it also in the same way it's like more like, do you really want this? Why do you want this? Right?
Right.
If you have all the answer, or if you at least know that you somehow, somewhere you want this, then it's worth trying in any field, not just in the Air Force or being a pilot or anything like that, just in any field.
Awesome. No, I love that. I think everything you talked about is so relevant, right? I think you're in your 20s and you're talking about the way, like a very wise person, right? And I think it's so relatable to, whether the people are students or, in their fields, because these are things that are so important to understand, right? I mean, knowing yourself before anything else, like whatever, career we look at is so important because these kind of things that you're talking about, right? Things are tough. You'll have self-doubts, and all of it is not easy, and especially if you don't have anybody to support you.
Yes. You really don't know where you're going, but you still want to go, then just go.
Right?
Yeah. It's worth it. You're not going to die in the process. Trust me.
No, I mean, and it's good, right? And I think one of the reasons hamro lagi चाहिँ the core reason we're trying to do this podcast is showcase people like it. That's why we've been, trying to really get hold of you, Jyoti, as well, right? Because, like, if you don't see, our role models, it's hard to be them, right? I mean, timro lagi, like, it's such an inspiring journey in terms of the hard work you've put in, like without having any sort of guidance, right? That what we're hoping is we have tons of other people that want to do similar things, and they now see, oh my God, there's a Nepali American that's already done it. Right. So if I put in the hard work, if I sort of follow these guidelines, I can make it, Paneras. I think that's such an amazing story for our audience. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you for actually giving me the opportunity to share.
No, Jyoti, as soon as I found out about you and when we connected on LinkedIn, I've been trying to figure out a way to showcase this. So this is amazing. Tell us a little bit about, about Nepal, right? In terms of Jyoti in Nepal, as you were growing up and so on. What? Tell us a little bit about that sort of period.
Of my childhood? Oh my God. I was so kind child. In a good way, very adventurous, because I grew up in a small village, surrounded by the hills, right? And I do have two younger brother. And every time right after school, we just go to the river and jump from the cliffs and, dog picking. I think I gave a hard time to my mom because I was pretty much like, I would say as far as I remember, I think when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I already had that ability to make a decision. The moment I know like I want it, I'll just go after it. I never had that fear of what others gonna think or what my parents gonna think,
Right.
Anything like from like doing adventure stuff, like jumping from the cliff, diving and just go for a hike, not telling your parents, which is not I don't recommend to do that, and I would always have my brothers with me, my younger and half of the villagers.
Right.
Or just go like in a group and do a lot of adventurous stuff. And I would be the lead because I was the oldest at that time. And everybody is younger than me, so I would lead them. And if we all have to jump or we are trying something new, I'll be the first one to do it. So that it's like if I can survive, then we know that everybody other gonna survive too. So I would take that lead. So now I think about, like, whenever I think about my childhood and how, like, what I do here, this, and you think about your parents, all this stuff, and sometimes you ask yourself, why am I like this, right? And why it is so easy for me not to lead by fear. I seriously do not have it all. I have fear of failing. I'm not fear of falling back. I'm not fear of not able to, like, follow the culture or norms or anything at all. And it's not because I moved to US and then I have the opportunity. If I was never like that back in Nepal, then I would never see the opportunity now I have in that way. So childhood really helped me, like the things that I did in childhood, like, and also, like, my dad, he's still a, like, social work, right? And he would do a lot of things for community and making community a better place. Day and night, people come in our house every day. I do not remember growing up not having a guest in our house. There would always be someone in our house. And I see that in my dad. And my mom on the other side is a full-time housewife, right? And growing up in a big family, and my mom would be, like, still she's so active. And she would do a lot of work. It's not just like being in the house and working and taking care of kids, other stuff too. And I see that, and none of my parents, I never see them being fear of anything, They were always, they would do everything they wanted and they would go after whatever they wanted.
Right.
Now I think about that, think about my childhood, yes, definitely. And also it's like children do what they see, So for me, whatever I'm doing now is probably because I see my parents doing that. I see my parents taking care of others. I see my parents being there for them. I see my parents whenever they need, and they will sacrifice everything just to be there and just to solve their problem. Even though it's so funny, because I remember, like, because it's a tiny village, everybody know everyone, right? And then if there is any problem occurs, then they would come to my house, my parents' house, even though there is other place they could go, right? But why my parents' house? Because they knew that my parents could help them in any case, in any time, it's day or night. So growing up, I see that a lot. I see how dedicated my dad was for the society, to make the society, better place, or things like that. So it was so easy for me when I even came here. Sorry, I'm kind of going in other direction.
No, we love this. Continue. No.
So it was so easy for me when I came here. I did, like, a lot of, like, kids. I do have nieces here. I have cousins and their daughter and son, right? I see that in them, that they don't really feel like they belong here, or they feel like they really don't know where they belong to. They can't be, like, Nepali fully. They can't understand American culture fully, in wholesale. But it is very important for us. Maybe probably it's like my dream, because I always wanted to go to space, and I see planet Earth as just Earth, like our home. Our home means not only my home, it's not only your home, our home, like our home. So I never feel like, I've been to, like, different countries and different places. I never felt like this is not where I belong. I never had that kind of thought in my head. But now I think, and I hear more about other people saying, like, it's so hard for us to feel like, like we belong here because of this and that and what's going on out the culture, out the world. And I'm like, wow, a lot of time you don't really think that way. And then when other people talk, and then you kind of like, wow, this is really a big deal, right? So especially for even kids, childhood really shaped a lot. It's not like you're going to turn 18 and you're just going to discover that this is what you want to know. Any dream, like, I I remember when I was 8 years old, at that time, even though we didn't even have a TV, I remember my dad had a radio, and then he would always listen to BBC News every 5:30 a.m. in the morning, right? And then he's the one who kind of put that seed in my head, not forcefully or not intentionally, but more in other way. I don't remember how that kind of stuck in my head. And I didn't know it's possible. I didn't know moving to space. I didn't know what astronaut means. Nothing. But as I grew up and I see one of my neighbor, he was a pilot, and I see the first probably helicopter for the first time. I was so amazed by the fact, like, I just couldn't believe that I was so close to the helicopter, right? And this thing can fly, and like a small thing. And then my dad got a TV, and then I started watching National Geographic channel. That's the only channel we could watch. I grew up in a really strict environment. And then I see a lot of like machine, rocket, and at that time it was dubbed in Hindi. And it still at the same time, I couldn't believe that the human actually invent those machines. I really thought it's just like us, it's just like a nature thing.
Right.
But now I think about it, how naive I was when I told myself that I wanted to go to space. And at that time, there was no means, no technology. I couldn't see anyone who looked like me or who was speaking English, right? And I never changed that. And I was like, okay, in order to go to space, you have to fly. And you don't have a wing, so you have to fly helicopter or something, right? So it's so annoying. But now I think about it, I just cannot believe. And how I hold my dream for like almost like 15 years without doubting myself, without even thinking about if it's possible or not, because I never bothered to think like if it's possible or not. I was just doing my thing, and I was good at school. I would do everything, absolutely every extra activities, everything. And then when I got an opportunity, and I really believe that the reason why I got this opportunity is to actually fulfill my dream. And that is why it was so easy for me to actually walk in my dream. Because even though there is a tons of milestone, I'm like getting there. I'm pulling not an astronaut, but it's still my dream, right? And then it is very important. And the dream that you hold as a child, and it means so much to you, and when you like feel like that, then you really don't see or think like how people gonna, look at you, or how if people gonna believe you or not. It's really not important. I never let anyone disbelieve in me or not trusting my dream, because it never mattered to me. What mattered to me is like, now I have this opportunity, and it's not even like it's going to be easy for me. No, I don't think so. Anything going to be easy, especially when you need to pursue anything new. And when you do not see someone like you, right? And you see like there's no one like you, and you don't know what you are even doing,
Right.
So I'm questioning, okay, where do I start? How do I start? Where do I get information? And it's just like believing in yourself. And I'm very much fond to children, because the reason why I'm today who I am today is definitely because my childhood was great. I was doing things that not lead by fear, but lead by excitement, and more like I want to try, not because how the result going to turn out, but I just simply want to try.
Exactly. No, I think that's so interesting. And it's amazing how, our childhood, our families impact the people we become, right? Karma, teachers, and, the people we surround ourselves with. And I love that, when we think about Nepalis in general, we give society such a big even importance, right? हामी जहिले पनि भन्छौँ नि कसले के भन्छ कसले के गर्छ, and we knowingly, unknowingly, we live our lives thinking what, other people will say, what society will say, and so on. And I thought, Timro case, how you've been, that noise like you've been filtering out, right? I think that's so important. Okay, 40 times, right?
I never even heard that noise. The noise was out there, but I never even actually hear that noise. For me, I had other noise in my head.
Selective, I guess. Yeah, I mean, what that means is also selective hearing, okay, in a good sense, right? Where you're filtering out noise that doesn't really help you. This noise that timlai constantly move forward. There's so much to do. That sort of keeps you on the right track. You're listening to that noise, right?
I think it's very important to listen to your own voice. Yes.
No, of course. Isma, I'd like to sort of change in terms of our, questioning and so on. I know that, Air Force man, NASA man, everything, you didn't really have a Nepali, community or guide and so on. But, you've also moved to Texas and built your own life. Your whole, your 6 years go journey, can you think of any time where a Nepali, that not necessarily they were, family or friends and so on, were helpful, useful, were like, even like give you that comfort of home? Case hot still?
Because my career is so different compared to the Nepali Nepali-American people here, because I picked such a unique and different field.
Right.
Still haven't met any Nepali even in my own organization, in my own career. And I really haven't got time to actually like go and talk in my community, because just my life itself moved so fast and everything is like training, right? And just not only the training, and I'm still doing my school, doing two degrees at the same time, and I do other research so I never actually had a time to like, oh, I have a community here, I'm gonna go there and then I'm gonna say hello, hi, right? I never had like that kind of like time to get involved.
Right.
I remember very first time when I moved to state, I had organization, I forgot. At that time, I was in a non-profit organization, which was kind of led by one of the refugees. And she kind of like, she was like, okay, while you are waiting for your career, a phone call from the Air Force, do you want to get into like this non-profit organization? And then I was like, at that time, I didn't know, but I'm a person, like if anyone introduced me anything, I never say no. And not because of the time or anything like that. I would always just jump in anything, absolutely anything. And then I remember the very first time, and she was like, okay, you are so young, you are full of energy, I think you are a good person to be a president of the non-profit organization. And since then, I'm a president. I still am a president of my non-profit organization. And at that time, and then I had the opportunity to actually go to the Nepali community, some sort of program. At that time, I was so new. And then I went there, right? Again, I think I was the only young girl. Nobody really cared about me. Nobody knew I was even there. Right? And I remember I tried to talk to a few Nepali women because, as a young girl, you have like, oh my gosh, you're in US, everybody's so educated. Everybody's very, like professional. And I had this unique mindset that somehow I'm going to do a great thing for my organizations. I went with the whole proposal, everything. And what I'm doing, I was so excited to say that story. But when I got there, it was not like that at all. So it was so shocking for me. I was like, just sitting there. Nobody cares. Nobody even come and talk to me. If I go and talk to them, nobody really want to know you, right? Because you are so young and nobody really, I guess, they had other things to do.
Mhm.
But that was the first time I interact with the Nepali community, and my experience, not gonna lie to you, was not what I thought.
And that is not the reason I asked this question. You know, I
Yeah.
to bring a positive side that I mean, it's unfortunate that
Yeah.
sorry.
And then, but that helped me. That helped me in a way that, everything I do, I always try to find a reason why things happen to me.
Right.
And that actually kind of helped me to actually focus more in my career, because at that time, I really thought that I would, while I was waiting for the Air Force, I really thought, because I didn't know if they're going to say yes or no, right?
Right.
I really thought I'm going to be like a good social worker. And because my father is a social worker,
Right.
so I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a great social worker, a great thing for my community, yeah, kind of. But, and then I realized that because I also couldn't do for them. And I realized that this is not really for you, and a lot of the problem they were talking about was not in my list. And I found myself very much like not knowledgeable and not even experienced. And I was just there, but that kind of that experience helped me to actually focus more in my career. And when I was like a little bit older, a little bit mature, on the adult, so that was the first time I actually got interact with the Nepali community. And afterwards, a few months later, I got news, and then I said, I'm so busy just doing my, trying my best to get to my dream, or closer to my dream, because it's so important for everyone, not only in US or in Nepal, wherever the Nepali people are. So important to see someone like from a really basic middle class background to do something that that is now is very exceptional. But I don't want to be just me. I want more people with me. I wanna like when they hear my story, I want them to like feel or get connected with my story, that
Yes.
it's okay not to have even support from your parents, not to have a support from your community, not to have a support from anyone.
Mhm.
It'll be tough. Yes, it is going to be tough. It is going to be very challenging. There will be the time comes where you're gonna doubt in yourself. You might gonna think like, oh my gosh, I waste my time or anything like that. But trust me, when you try, you're gonna know.
Of
You're
course.
proud of yourself. So I do not have a particular moment like Nepali people came to me and then helped me, because I picked such a unique career and I still haven't found any Nepali doing what I'm doing, right? But in the same way, I'm not saying that they're not helpful. It's just because I'm not in.
No, exactly. No, I so agree with you. And I think we still have these biases, right? Now, without bad intention. I mean, Nepaliहरूको के छ भने, we look at people's age, hierarchy, like those kind of things. So we think that young मान्छेहरू would say they need to learn from us, not the other way around. Young people can't teach us stuff, and older people know everything, भनेर, right? Older people, more senior people, they come with experience, which is valuable. But I do strongly think that, the experiences, the wisdom, and it's not related to your age, right? I think even as a podcast mate, it's incredible how I'm learning so much from you, right? And I think our audience is going to learn so much. It's like I said, it's unfortunate, तिम्रो experience and so on, but it's also, I think we're evolving as a community, right? So one of the things that we're trying to do is just that, okay, right? How do we showcase? It doesn't have to be Nepali is like successful bhane, Nepali or entrepreneur that's in their 50s and 60s matra haina ki. It can be somebody that's in their 20s doing something completely disruptive. हामीले नसुने industries ma, you could be an amazing leader and an amazing role model त्यो age ma, right? And we're trying to showcase that. So I say open invitation, Jyoti, whenever I know you're really busy and everything, but whenever you need to be part of a community, the community is here with open arms. I think
now it's not like I do not see in a way that somebody has to approach me. I do not see that way at all. I was like, if there is anything I can do for anyone, I can do it in more professional way. It doesn't have to be personally
exactly.
in a professional way, and it's like this. Now I do at least have something to share. At least I have something to tell, and people are interested to hear. So why not, right? Because it's not about, because in the past something happened to me. But at the same time, we also have to understand that we are, as a whole Nepali community, growing, learning from each other, learning from other communities, and then how they're supporting each other, right? And living in the US, we see that in every community. We see that in Indian, we see that in Vietnamese, Philippines, we see that in Black American communities. And now I strongly believe that we are kind of learning from them as well, right? Exactly. It's so important for not only to support because now you are someone, also support in a way that you can be someone, And it's very important because I do not think everybody has mentality or that spirit or that fearless mind to go after whatever they want. Sometimes people small push, hey, this thing happened to me in my life and I did it and I see the same potential in you and I you can do it too. Those kind of push, because I do not believe that you have to be a certain, like you have to have certain type, like you have to enable to be like a like you, ma'am. You have to be like her. It's not like that. You can be like a totally different person and do the same thing. And the only thing is like now we know that we can support someone because now we are in a position like you can support me, now I can support you, right? And as long as we have that kind of like learning mindset, and nobody is perfect, there's always room for growth. And as long as you try and people see that you are so dedicated, you have that flourishing like a potential, or you are just always, and like somebody has like a little bit of power to influence in your life, then why not do that? You cannot just be better just focusing on yourself. You have to focus sometimes in others as well, in able to come up with the whole, like a wholesome of Nepali community. I can be better all by myself. I can work hard, but in able to have a good, better community, it has to be all of us coming to.
Of course, no. And I think that's such a positive and wonderful way to sort of end our conversation. Jyoti, I think there's so much that I do want to ask you and have a conversation on it. But I think there's for now I know you're super busy, so I'll let you go. Thank you so much for being here. I loved our conversation, and I'm so glad despite the busy schedule and everything, you're making time for me as well as our community. I've just had a wonderful time.
Oh, thank you so much for actually giving me this platform to share. I don't know how many people are going to be like influenced or like inspired by my story, but just having a platform where you can go and share your story means a lot. And I know for sure I have listened to other podcasts, and I know for sure it's very important. And what you are doing is so important, especially for like my generation, because we don't really appreciate. We know how much it takes, and I personally know how much it takes for you just to be here and talking with me, because it takes every ounce of your energy to to bring it here and listen to my story and try to do not just a job. Like you are doing something that in the future, the generation who is coming, they're going to realize that, oh, there was such a person who did such a thing, and I heard someone was there and I heard their story, And oh my God, they are no different than me. They're the same people. And if they can do it, I can do it. And getting this platform to share this story, I really appreciate. Thank you so much for giving me this.
No worries, Jyoti. No worries at all. This is the least we can do for our community. And next time next time we have to make plans to meet in person.
That's
Fun that I think I would enjoy to actually have a conversation with you and hear about all your stories even more.
And even your story, I'm looking forward to your story. Yes. And whatever you are doing phenomenal. Just keep doing. I wish you all the best in your life and in your career. We can always try. We can always try, and we can always make a little bit of difference in any field. Like I'm doing something in my field, you are doing something in my field, and that's how we come together and strong.
Of course. No. I mean, thank you. I mean, I do have to give a shout out to मेरो podcast co teams, Subhiga, Rikesh, Romanchika, Ria, Prem. I mean, it's, I'm the face, you see me talking, that there's always, the good thing about a community is there's so many people doing the work behind the scenes that make it happen. And I think one thing I really, really love, and I want to thank our audience, Funny, is because they're listening, right? They're sort of doing something about it, which is incredible. You could just be talking to, vacuum man and nothing would happen, right? What's amazing is people are responding to what we put out there, right? People are saying, oh, I might have a story that you want to share. I might want to do something. It's incredible, right? It's baby steps that are collectively, it's so amazing. So I'm, grateful to everybody for that.
Yeah. And I also want to add one thing. A lot of people can figure out or detect the problem. Not everybody actually bring that energy or that dedication to actually solve the problem. And your team and you yourself is a living example right here. It's not about just achieving a great thing and being in front of the public eyes. It's also about someone like you who is bringing those strong story and influence thousands of people who is listening to the podcast. So I really want to thank you, Pretty Man, and your team, and I'm looking forward to see you in the future.
Okay, perfect. No, thank you, Jyoti. Get some rest, have fun, and hope to see you soon. Okay.
Thank you. Have a good day.